welcome back. I'm Courtney, and this is the Accounting Struggle, where we speak about our struggles with accounting openly and honestly. We do not run from them. In today's video, I am going to be talking to you about why I left public accounting. So I want to preface this video by saying this is my experience, and this is not meant to be a discouragement if you are looking for a career in public accounting, or if you are in another part of accounting, or if you're just starting out in your career and you're not sure where you want to end up. This is not meant to sway you either way. This is just why I am not working in public accounting anymore, because I always make videos about public accounting and I speak on it so much, and sometimes people ask me like, oh, well, what are you doing now? Why aren't you there anymore? What happened? And nothing really happened. So I wanted to just kind of put that out there just in case you were thinking that this was about to be super salacious and juicy and hot tea. It's really not anything like that at all. But I do want to speak on what were some of the reasons that led to my decision to leave public accounting altogether. So for starters, I started my career in public accounting at a mid-tier firm in Virginia. Well, it's not based in Virginia, but I worked in the Richmond office for almost 3 years. I started as an intern. I actually did an internship at another public accounting firm, similar size, like my junior year of college, and then I did a busy season tax internship in the spring of 2016 with the firm that I was with, and I was working like 25-30 hours a week, and it was good. It was part-time because I still had like 18 credits that semester, and I knew once I worked as an intern, I had already accepted a full-time offer, so I knew that that was the type of work that I would be doing. I really enjoyed it. And then I started full-time right after I graduated. So I came on as a full-time associate in the spring of 2016, and I worked there until June or May of 2019. So you could just call that 3 years altogether. My whole time I worked in tax. My very first internship or experience, it was actually an externship in public accounting, was actually a little bit of audit and tax. It was a little bit of both, but because it was a summer internship, there wasn't really a lot of work for us to do, so I can't really say that I had real exposure to either one of those. My first real experience with actual client work was when I did my busy season internship with the firm that I ended up working for full-time. So as a full-time tax associate, I worked on a variety of different clients. As you might imagine, a lot of individual work during busy season, but outside of busy season, I worked on a lot of S-Corps, C-Corps, partnership returns, and then I did probably maybe like a year in, or like 6 months to a year in, I started focusing more on the nonprofit clients. So that was like the bulk of what I did was throughout the year was a lot of nonprofit work. But with public accounting, depending on where your office is, you're probably going to do a variety of different types of clients, or at least I know I did. And then everybody helps out with individuals throughout busy season. So I got a taste of everything, which was good, so that I could feel like, do I like this? Do I like that? What's my favorite? What's my specialty? That kind of thing. So I went into public accounting with the mindset that I would start out here, get a taste for what I like, move up, probably stay in public accounting at least 3 to 5 years, see what I like about it, get some experience in leadership, maybe work as a senior and then work my way up to manager, and just get a taste of what that's like. And then from there, I'll see where I am, reassess, and then decide what I want to do as far as accounting is concerned. So that was kind of my game plan, and then once I started, it was way harder than I ever anticipated it was going to be. I didn't know that I was going to struggle as much as I did, which is why I started, hence the name, The Accounting Struggle, because I was really having a hard time just grasping or just making the transition from student to professional and applying a lot of the concepts that I had nailed down. I did really well as a tax student, but as a tax accountant, I was really struggling. Like, it was so hard. I didn't understand why there were so many different rules and so much to comprehend, and nothing was like in the classroom, and I was really having a hard time with that. But after a while, I started to catch on and started to increase efficiencies, and things started getting better. But I just over time started to think about long term, is this what I want? Is this something that I feel a strong connection to? And that was what made me kind of think about or reassess my game plan. I would always ask like the managers or seniors, other people that I worked with, when does it start to get to a point where I'm like, I'm killing it, I know what I'm doing, this is awesome, I'm a rock star. And they would kind of say like, oh, it's always going to be a little challenging. If you ever get to a point where it's too easy, then you'll get promoted and you're ready for your next level. So I kept feeling like, well, maybe I don't love it because I'm having a hard time. And that was kind of the case for a while, but then I would nail down something or I would really grasp something and I still didn't feel that like spice of like, oh my God, I really like this work. But I felt like it was because I needed to find a niche in accounting or in tax, that specialty that I needed to focus on, and then I would start to love it more. That was kind of what I was thinking, and that just didn't ever end up happening. So the overall reason why I left public accounting is because I just didn't love it. I didn't and not to romanticize like work, any career will have parts of it that you just don't enjoy, or that you don't not every day is gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm so driven, this is so much fun, I really enjoy this, and I get that. But I didn't ever really feel like that, and I didn't have any part of it that I was like, wow, I really love this. There was no connection to the work that I was doing, and although it was challenging and I was learning and that part was really great, that was like the only part of it that I thought was great, and I could do that in any role. I never felt like a strong love for what I was doing. So that made me say, you know, I don't think I can do this, or I don't think I have a desire to do this for the long term. My first busy season was, as a full-time staff, was pretty rough, but my second busy season was a lot better. It was because at that point, I'm working on clients that I had worked on the prior year, or I'm working on things that I have a better understanding of, and it was good. My last busy season was the one with tax reform. It was 2019, last year. So yeah, 2019 was a year. So the firm that I was working at had a lot of other changes on top of tax reform. So in general, it was just like a lot going on. And at that time, I was starting to really think about, do I really want to be a tax accountant at a public accounting firm? Is that like my long-term goal? That busy season, 2019, was when I realized I did not want a career in public accounting as at a CPA firm doing tax. Like, that just wasn't something that I had a strong desire for. I'm sure you've heard by now, you work a lot in public accounting. Accountants in general typically work a lot, but in public accounting, you will work more hours than normal people. I mean, it is certainly not a 9 to 5. It is not a 9 to 6. It's not a 9 to 7. It's like a 9 to 8, 9 to 9, especially during busy season. You're working all day. It becomes less about the hours and more about just getting the work done. And that is something that you just really have to have some love for it to be able to pull from that. If you don't, it's just gonna feel like, oh my God, when is this ending? And even for people who do love it, there's still fatigue, there's still burnout, there's still people who get frustrated, which is so normal. But in order for you to keep coming back year after year, season after season, and loving it, is because you actually enjoy the work. So I was working busy season. We had a mandatory 65-hour week that we had to do, and that was like starting around late January, and it didn't end until the deadline of April 15th. And I'm no stranger to hard work. I've been working my entire life. I've literally started working when I was like a child. I was booked and busy at like 14, 15 years old. I've always worked hard. That's not a big deal. But I've always worked hard at things that I enjoyed doing, or I always had something that was driving me as like the force, the inspiration for working so hard. And with the role in public accounting, I didn't have much to pull from. It became less and less steam for me to feel enthusiastic. I'm a very chipper person. I'm enthusiastic. I'm like, hey everybody, good morning, how are you? That's normally like my personality. So when I have a role, or if I'm in a role and I don't feel that way because I'm so exhausted, or I'm just not I'm just not excited. I'm anxious going into work because I'm like, oh, what am I walking into? I just don't like to feel that way, and I knew I didn't want to have that be my career for a lifetime. So the lack of work-life balance for me was like a real big reminder as to, okay, it's time for you to really give some thought to what else you want to do, because I'll always work hard no matter where I work or what my career is. I will always be working all day, but I didn't want all day to be the job. Like, there's other things that I do that are related to accounting, like even this blog, that I just don't have time to do if I'm working so many hours. And if I'm replacing it with something that I don't, if I'm utilizing all of those hours in a day on something that I'm not passionate about, I feel like that doesn't make sense. So that was one of the reasons, one of the big reasons why I left, was because I wasn't loving it and it was so much work and it just didn't make sense. I didn't understand why I would continue to work that much if it wasn't something that I loved. Another reason why I left public accounting is because I knew I couldn't see myself moving up. Like, I kept trying to envision myself initially when I started, like in my interview and all of that, a young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed college senior. I was like, I'm gonna move up, I'm gonna go to like a management role. That was my mindset because I had no idea what that entailed. And as I got into it, I saw what managers and partners and seniors, what their responsibilities were, what it looked like, what it entailed, and I did not envision that for myself because of what type of life I want to have and the type of lifestyle I desire to have, the type of schedule I desire to work. I knew that those two things did not align. For me, it just didn't make sense. And that's not to say that I want a job where I punch a clock and I come in and I work 8 hours and I go home, because I feel like maybe that could be the perception. That's not what I'm saying at all. So just to put it frankly, the type of commitment that you would need in order to be a successful, like to be a partner level, and there might be people who will tell you differently, but I have not seen any examples where this is not the case. Public accounting is your life. Your work will be your life. Most of your life will be work. You're coming in bright and early, 7 a.m. maybe, or whatever time you get there, but you will not be leaving for at least 12 hours. And that's every day for several months out the year. And that's something that you do every year. And you just know it and you accept it and you don't push back at it. It just is your life. And that's fine. That is totally fine. But for me, I couldn't see it. I could not see it. So because I could not see myself growing to a certain level in that role, because I was really struggling to make a connection where I could actually visualize myself in a position like that, I felt like I would be stagnant, and I didn't see any purpose in continuing in a role that I knew I wasn't going to grow in, because not because I couldn't, but because I had no desire to grow to that level. The level is great and it's honorable and it's something that is worthy of all the recognition, but it wasn't something that I desired at all. I know that work-life balance is a big thing that people talk about, especially in like recruiting and firms. They're trying really hard to make it more about work-life balance, and they're trying super hard to incorporate more of it and make sure that people aren't burnt out. But the reality is, in public accounting, you have to go into it knowing and accepting that this is the culture. You will work this much, and if you think that that is going to change, or if you think that that is something that you can get around, then you're wrong. It just isn't. That is just the culture. You will work that much, and you might as well not go into it if it's not something you can accept. Because if you are always focused on, oh my God, I'm working so much, oh my God, I'm so tired, oh my God, I can't believe I've been here for 12 hours, then you won't be able to sustain a career in public accounting. And it's okay if you don't have a desire to work 70-hour weeks. That's perfectly fine. But if you don't have that desire and you go into public accounting, you are setting yourself up for failure, because that is how it's going to be. And this is in tax. So there's busy season from January until April 15th. And then depending on the type of client work you have, you could still be busy after that, but just not 75 hours, maybe like 60, 55 hours. And then after that, it starts up again for extension season and you're busy again. Maybe not at the same level, but still very, very busy. So if that's something that you know that you're okay with, you live for this, you are so pumped when you think about like, yes, Starbucks, iced coffee me, and I am ready and I can handle this because I love this type of work and I thrive in these types of environments, then you'll be fine. So the type of lifestyle, or the type of, I shouldn't say lifestyle, but the type of life that I desire to have, or where I am in my life, didn't also fit into where I would need to be going in my career for public accounting. It just wasn't practical. Because I was a non-traditional student and I graduated, and the day I graduated I got engaged and literally got married like a couple years later. I'm moving in a direction where I'm trying to like settle down. I've been settled down, but settle down, start a family. The part of my life where I'm super focused and gazelle intense about just my career and 100% focused on me and just working as much as I can and not caring about everything else, because I've done that. I'm not in that place anymore, and it wouldn't be practical for me to continue on in a career in public accounting, because in order to continue moving up, I feel like you do have to have that level of gazelle intensity. I have not seen people be successful in public accounting without that. For where I was and where I am in life, public accounting didn't fit anymore, and it didn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. How I wanted to live, how I desired to live, it just didn't make sense for the type of schedule I needed to be able to have. And so really the big things was I just didn't love it, and there wasn't enough work-life balance for what I desire or for what I require. Like I really need for my own sanity, for me to still be happy and bubbly and chipper. Like my level of excitement in January and compared to like late March, very, very different energy. And I don't want to have a career where I'm not able to still be the happy person that I am, because work is like draining me. So another thing about public accounting was I didn't feel like I was really utilizing all parts of my skills. I feel like because of I have a very interesting background. I've done pretty much all the jobs. I've done a lot of different career types, but I feel like I had these skills that were not being used, and they just didn't have a place. They would have never really had much of a place in public accounting. I'm sure there are probably people who find ways to be more creative in their roles, but for me, the type of creativity that I was thinking of, I love content creating, I love contact with people. I didn't feel like I was really getting a lot of that in public accounting. I'm sure when you move up and become in leadership roles, you do get more client contact, that makes sense, but I was never going to really be able to utilize some of the other skills that I have, and that was something that I just felt like was a void in my career. I never really went into it with the mindset of like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life and become a partner. I knew I never wanted to be a partner, but I did think that I would enjoy it more than I did. And I thought that it would have been a lot smoother, or I thought that I would have gone a lot further in my public accounting journey than I did, but I'm not mad about where it's landed. I actually stayed an associate the entire time that I was there, because I did not pass the CPA exam until after I finished in public accounting, like 2 months later, then I finished the CPA exam. So, and you really can't move up unless you get your CPA, and you have to also be doing well in the other areas as well. But I just never felt like I got to a place where I was thriving and I loved it and I was excited about the work, and I felt like going forward for years and years and years without that, and then finally saying, oh, I don't love this, and deciding to leave would have been a mistake. I didn't want to waste too much time. I didn't want to waste the firm's time because they invest so much in your growth and your development, and I felt like it would be a good time to go ahead and leave because I knew that I wasn't going to move forward. The other thing is, I really wanted to get out and explore. There were so many other parts of accounting that I had not tapped into yet. I mean, tax is very specific. It's a deep dive. You can spend your entire career in tax and be super fulfilled if it's what you love. You could have an entire career just trust tax, or I mean, there are people who just do like partnership returns and they're like the guru for that, and that's what they do their entire career, and they have no desire to do anything else. And that's great, but I couldn't make that decision just after a couple of years of working without having tried anything else. So I wanted to see what the other areas that accounting had to offer before I decided on a specialty like tax, because it is very specific. So while my career in public accounting was not something that I found to be super fulfilling or interesting, well, no, it was definitely interesting. I will say that. But I did not feel fulfilled by the work. That's not to say that a career in public accounting is not a good idea. I actually think that everyone should work in public accounting at least at some point in their career. I think it's the best place to start. If you're not sure what you want to do, I would always suggest starting in public accounting because you get a taste of a little bit of everything, and you work in an intense environment where you're multitasking, you're having to work on a lot of different projects, and I feel like it shapes you into the type of accountant who can handle almost any role. The work that I do now is nowhere near related to what I did as a tax accountant. There's almost no comparison at all. The only similarities are posting journal entries. Other than that, I don't do anything related to what I was doing in my role in tax, but everything about my role in tax prepared me for what I'm doing now. And I feel like most people who have worked in public accounting were able to smoothly transition into other roles because of the time they spent in public accounting. So while it was a lot of work for something that I didn't have a lot of passion for, I definitely would recommend it. And I think that there are plenty of people who work in public accounting who love their jobs. Even if they do work 80 hours a week, they don't care. They fake complain about it, but they really love it deep down inside. And it's not like just a 2 to 3 year thing and then they're out. It's something that they want to do. They know they want to be a partner. They know they want to move up. And people like that who are already sure of it, I don't think there's any reason to question it. If you know you love the work you're doing, you should stay in it. I was more so making this video for anyone who might be considering leaving public accounting or going into it, just some ideas about what they could expect. Everything is going to have to do with your personality and what you want out of a career, what you want out of a life and work-life balance. For me, public accounting was not a good fit. However, there are plenty of people who will thrive and have amazing careers in public accounting. So it really just depends. I definitely encourage everyone to at least give it a try. If nothing else, no one has better parties than public accounting. The best happy hours I've ever been to have been when I worked in public accounting. There's really no comparison. So there's that. And you'll work with some of the smartest people. You get to work on a lot of really good projects. You get to learn. You get to be thrown into situations where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And you'll figure it out and you'll like build up your problem solving skills that way. So it's a really good experience, even if it's kind of scary, because a lot of people are intimidated by that amount of work or that amount of intensity. But if you can survive public accounting, then you can smoothly transition into any other area of accounting, I believe. So I think it's a great start. I definitely did not make this video to discourage anyone from being in public accounting or going into it. I think it's an amazing career. I'm so grateful for the time that I spent there, and I definitely would not have changed it at all. Would I go back to public accounting? No, I would not. I don't have any plans to ever go back to public accounting. I just don't have any desire to work in a public accounting setting. Again, I believe once I've done something and I've had that part of life and I've experienced that part of life, I don't necessarily have a strong desire to go back to it. That's just kind of how I am. But I know that there are people who have left public accounting before and they were bored in their industry jobs and they went back. That's a certain type of person. I'm not that type of person. I like boring. I like slow and steady. I'm that girl. So I know that I won't be going back to public accounting. But if you really are looking for a career in accounting and you're not sure where to start and you don't know what you will like, I would say start in public accounting. You'll learn so much and it is a great start. So anyway, I hope you found this video to be helpful and insightful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and like, comment, subscribe. If you are in your accounting journey and you're leaving public accounting or you have left public accounting, leave me a comment below and let me know what was it that led you to your decision to leave. Was it something that you've always known you were going to do, or did you discover it once you started working in public accounting? I'm super interested to hear from you, so please let me know in the comments below. If there's anything else that you would like for me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to get that video out to you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.